Mr. Speaker.
I call Andrew Bailey.
Mr. Speaker, what a wonderful day to be here. And it is so good to see the opposition here. I know why they're here, and that's because we've reported a surplus today. $77 million for the 7 months to January this year. That is why they're all here, to celebrate this, to be part of this. Thank you for coming. What I just want to talk about is we've got some people on the other side who don't understand how we achieve things like this. It was fascinating to listen to that speech just before. That whole issue around good economic growth has been just recently validated by Moody's. Moody's are an international independent body that approves and reviews economic performance, and they have reaffirmed yet again that we've got a AAA rating. Now, why are we getting these good reports? First of all, we're achieving strong economic growth, 3.2% for the last year. And Treasury, independent Treasury, are forecasting that we're going to achieve similar rates over the next few years. That is even higher than the average rate that Labor was achieving when we had a world that was rocking along. We are achieving this in a world that is suffering from recession, from global recovery, and yet we can still outperform what was achieved by Labor. We're also seeing interest rates at a 20-year low, and that is good for business. And I know you referred to businesses before. What it means, low interest rates, means that people can invest in buying new plant for their businesses, spending it on CapEx. It's also good for our families. It means that our families can borrow money to buy new houses, build new houses, exactly what we want to see achieved. And we've seen new jobs. My colleagues have talked about it, 80,000 last year. That means over the last 5 years, 220,000 new jobs have been achieved in this economy, and with Treasury's projection of 153,000 new jobs over the next 4 years, that means another 230,000 jobs. In essence, Mr. Speaker, nearly 500,000 jobs over the last 10 years. And that is a fantastic outcome, and that's what's going to keep people in proper or good living standards by creating jobs that they can earn good money with, that they can get the respect that they can from having a good job, looking after their families. We've also increased incomes. We've seen a 15% increase in incomes over the last 5 years, higher than inflation, and indeed, even with our modest salary rises, like most New Zealanders, we will be better off because we have tamed inflation at 0.8%. We've finally got that bogey under control. That means real increases for all our families and people working in New Zealand. Then we can look at our public sector. We have finally wrestled under control the public sector that was significantly expanded by the Labor government. It reached 34% of GDP. We've now got it down to just over 30%. What does that mean, Mr. Speaker? That means nearly $10 billion a year that we can invest in new things like health, infrastructure, education, which brings me to health. It is fascinating looking at what's happening in health. Early education, we've doubled spending over the last 6 years, from 800 million to 1.5. We've increased the participation rates of early education or children under 5s going to early education centres by up to 96% participation. We're investing 600 million in new schools. We're seeing secondary school investment gone up by 45%. We've got 20 million more invested in special needs, nearly $500 million we spend on special needs. And I know that's not enough, but it is a significant amount we're investing in looking after people and our students who need special care in our schools. And finally, 12,000 more places in tertiary education. Those are all great achievements. And when I look at what's happening in my electorate, on 2nd of February, a brand new school opened in Ormiston. Fantastic. Hanua, fantastic new school. One of 3 in that area. And they are top-notch schools. wonderful creative environments that they have. And then I went to Waiuku not long ago, only 3 weeks ago, a fantastic headmaster and principal, and he was showing me some of the results. And across the board, and particularly for Māori, the results were outstanding. Significant improvements, and that's what we're trying to achieve in education, because when those students come out of school, we want to see them going into jobs, and those are part of the programs that we're putting in place in our electorate to see that transition into good vocational training and into jobs, which is where people can get that self-respect I talked about. Just reflecting a moment on infrastructure spend. We've spent 12 billion over the last 10 years, and we're investing another 12 billion over the next 10 years. We're seeing such wonderful improvements. We're completing those roads that have been sitting around for generations. All those improvements around Auckland, the great announcement around the Waikato Expressway, which will see a motorway linking Cambridge right through to Wellsford. Those are the type of things that are going to free up our transport. The investment in rail that we've made, the bridges that we're building, all are important components in creating a transport infrastructure that it's linked, and we've also got our train services. All those things that we've invested in Auckland, the new electric train units, the new tracking, we're now seeing fantastic pick-up in terms of people utilising the train services in Auckland, 13 million trips a year, and together with 11 million trips we're seeing in Wellington. That's about good public use. We want to support public transport. And what does this mean? It means good stuff for regions. There was a dispersion before that regions weren't benefiting apart from Christchurch. Well, as my colleague before, Mr. Jamie Lee Ross mentioned, 7.8% growth rate in Northland. Those are the type of regional statistics we want to read about. Now, this is a government that has a plan, that it's working hard, it's achieving results, and it's delivering great outcomes. This is not a government that's seeking to put in place higher taxes. And it's a good thing, because we have got a fantastic tax system. And when I thought about with horror what Labor was proposing with its 5 new taxes, a capital gains tax, an additional tax on high income earners, a carbon tax, a regional fuel tax, a water tax, I was musing how that would affect all those small businesses that Labor now proclaiming that they want to look after and support. Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are a party that understands small business. Many of us have worked in small businesses, have owned small businesses, and we know the difference between talk and actually achieving results. So what are we doing about tax? Well, first of all, we're reducing tax for our families in need. Secondly, reducing tax on income for work and savings. We're raising the effective tax rate on property developments. And we're also providing additional funding for the IRD to target those companies and individuals who are avoiding tax. And it's interesting, the Finance and Expenditure Committee meeting this morning, just reflecting on the success of the IRD in achieving that, they've collected 750 million more in overdue debt owed to the tax department, and another 1.2 billion on tax avoidance schemes. This is our IRD focused on protecting and maintaining the integrity of our tax system. And finally, we're applying stricter rules to ensure that multinational companies can't avoid their legitimate tax share for the New Zealand economy. So this is what this government is about doing. We're about increasing and improving the economy, and when I reflect on the exports for New Zealand, they have increased significantly. Non-agriculture exports are up significantly, and when you think about the total exports out of this country for the year 2014 at nearly 70 billion, I find it an absolute disservice when I hear opposition members going on about how our firms are not working hard, we're not achieving enough. We have significantly increased exports by 10 billion over the last 4 years, and it is a good thing, and we should support our businesses. Thank you very much.
Members, order. members, this debate is concluded. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. I'll ask the clerk to conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
32 opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
11 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
Axe New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Members, the ayes are 63, the noes are 57. The motion is agreed to. Call on Government Order of the Day number 1.